Hi, I'm Nautica de la Cruz, and welcome to the Nautica Show. I want to thank all of my friends on Facebook, and if you're not on Facebook, you need to be on. I'm serious. So don't forget, go to my page, hit like at Nautica de la Cruz. Now here's the naughty news. Is it me, or does it seem like everyone nowadays is getting their own reality TV show or their own network? I guess not me. But Tamar Braxton and her husband manager Vincent Herbert have landed their own reality TV show while branching off from the Braxton's family values. Tamar seems to always have some sort of drama around her life and her husband, so I know this show is not going to be boring. Cissy Houston is reportedly planning to write a book about her late daughter, Whitney Houston. A deal for the book could go for up to 7 figures. Now, Miss Houston is aiming to set the record straight about her daughter and her life. That's your naughty news report. Today's guest was one of the finalists on Master of the Mix. I loved that show, and is also a very well-known, renowned DJ. So let's welcome DJ K Sly. K Sly, welcome to the show.
Hey, Naughty.
How you doing?
I'm good.
You've been keeping busy these days, I see.
Yes, trying.
Let's talk a little bit about your background. Where are you originally from?
Originally LA, but my dad was in the Army, so I'm an Army brat, and I don't know if you're familiar with what the military does. We move.
Okay.
All the time.
All right.
So we're always moving. So I lived here till I was 7, and I was born in Korea and then immigrated here when I was 1, and my entire family. Then my dad was still stationed in Korea. Then he came back, and then we left and went to Virginia.
Okay. Now you went to school in Kansas.
Yes.
And you also worked in Atlanta with Ludacris.
Yes.
Which is a well-known rapper now. He's done some amazing movies. You worked with Ludacris before he was who he is today. What was it like working with him?
Funny. It was funny because he and my partner Poon, they were best friends. So they would always we'd go to the movies. So they'd always watch movies and recite them on the air. And I didn't know some of the lines. I was like, what idiots. They're always like doing like movie lines on the air. This is ridiculous. I was like, nobody wants to hear your inside jokes, you know. But then it's just so ironic that he became a movie star, but it wasn't a surprise. Okay. Because people ask, they're like, are you surprised? And I'm like, no, because he worked hard. Like, he worked hard. Mm-hmm. He studied, he watched movies, he rapped every day, he studied other people. He was always studying and watching and listening. Mm-hmm.
I heard that he also did jingles for the station.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have this one he did as a tribute to Tupac when he was 18.
Okay. And
his voice is slightly different. It's a little bit more high-pitched, but it's still that deep voice. Mm-hmm. And it's really good. It's really good.
So it's been a great experience, not only working with Ludacris, but also getting to interview him as you worked at the radio station here, 100.3 The Beat in Los Angeles. You've got to interview a lot of great people, from Jay-Z to Mary J. Blige to, when you were on radio at The Beat, what was your most memorable interview ever?
I would say Jay-Z, definitely, Mary J. Blige, and then if you go old school, Bootsy Collins. Oh. And who else do we interview? We interviewed a lot of old school cats. Okay. Because Steve Harvey worked there, so we did a lot of old school interviews, and yeah, it was Bootsy Collins. Rick James. Rick James. That's who it was. And you were on the air because I was broadcasting from the BET radio room. Okay. So you were handling that. But it was Rick James and his daughter. Okay. Yeah.
Those were some good times, yes. I have to tell you. What made you decide, or what made you want to be into radio?
I would say starting in college, because I DJ'd a little bit, played around, and then I volunteered at the college station. Okay. I did it for fun, but I figured I was getting better because more and more people were listening, and they liked what I was playing, and I felt like I kind of knew, I just knew what they wanted to hear, and it wasn't about me, so it was more about them. Okay. And just from then on, I just continued.
So you crossed over into being a DJ. Now you are a very well-known DJ. You've DJ'd all over the world, and you've been on Master of the Mix, which we'll get into a little bit later. But how is the experience of being a female DJ when so many DJs are male? And there's only a few we could count on a hand that are very well-known, you including.
Well, thank you. I would say in the beginning it was tough because the guys, I don't know if it was a guy thing or just a DJ thing in the beginning when I was a teenager. No one wanted to teach me. And I tell them, I want to learn, can you teach me some things, you know? And they were like, yeah, okay, you know. And they just like, you know, brush me off. But then they'd hang out together and have their own sessions. And so I was like, is it because I'm a girl or is it because they just are being jerks? I don't know. But eventually I just kept watching them, and I've played instruments. I played the violin, I played the piano, because my family's a classical music family. I see. Not just because we're Asian and we got to play the piano, because a lot of Asians have to play the piano or the violin when you're growing up. But it's because my family, actually, we have professional classical musicians. So I have that tempo in my head. I know keys and I know music theory. And so I just learned on my own. And then,
so did you, when you first started, because, you know, DJing now has gone to a different perspective. Now we have this thing called Serato, which is on the computer. Did you start with vinyl and then worked with CDJs and then Serato? Is that, what were the steps?
Of course. I started in 1993, and we had vinyl. Everything was vinyl, and you put it in your milk crates or the mailbox crates, which were better because it didn't hurt your hands as much. And then when Serato came, as DJs, we were really excited. Because we didn't have to carry around the vinyls.
I see.
And in Atlanta, when I DJ'd in Atlanta, the smoking laws didn't pass yet. So I was inhaling all kinds of cigarettes, and then my vinyl stunk. And it just, I mean, it stunk. I don't know if you know what that smells like with the paper, you know, paper covers, and you take it home and your living room stinks. So stuff like that. But when we got to switch to Serato, it was really exciting because we all got together at the beat, like me, Dens, and Eric, and A1, everybody. We got somebody's hard drive, and we split the money to pay for it, and we started our collection like that and started transferring our own music and sharing it so that we could build our crates up. But then, you know.
I know. So now that you went from carrying vinyl to this computer, did you think that when the computers came along and then you could download all the music and, you know, you could DJ with it, did you feel like the art of DJing was lost, or did it improve?
I think that it actually, for us, before the whole DJ wave, I would speak for prior to that. I feel that it actually enhanced, it kind of rejuvenated us because we were kind of bored. It became kind of boring a little bit because you do certain things on vinyl and you do your little tricks and you get your blends in, you do different blends. But when Serato came, you had more, I don't know the word, like just more creativity, more room to be creative. So it was new to us, so we were like, it's a new toy.
Now, how do you feel about DJs now that, since this is a new era, are just learning Serato? That they only know Serato, they don't know CDJs, and they don't know vinyl. Do you still give them the same respect because they're new and it's a different generation, or do you feel a little iffy about it?
It depends on their intention. And I can't judge everyone across the board because I can't sit with everyone who's trying to DJ or learning how to DJ. I can't judge them, but usually when you see someone DJing or opening for someone, you can see their intention. You can kind of see it. And I feel that if your intention is right and you're learning on Serato first, it's not their fault. I mean, it's a new generation. It's 2012, so what do you expect? Do you expect them to go to Amoeba? They don't have to. They don't have to have our respect.
I see.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's good to have our respect, the people before you, but they don't have to. They can go get their own gigs. They don't have to bow down to us. So on that end, but I think that it would be great if they went and got a few pieces of vinyl and learned from that, because it is very different to DJ by ear only and to not depend on cue points in the computer and seeing the lines match up. And it's like DJing with a blindfold.
I see. I see. Let's talk a little bit about the show, Master the Mix. You completed 6 out of the 7 challenges. You were the last woman standing, which made us all very proud. Tell me a little bit about some of the stuff that we didn't see on TV that were maybe some of your challenges or some of the some of the advices that Kid Capri gave you, or Amber Rose, or Victor Duplay?
Well, number one, naughty.
Tell me.
I might not be able to tell you everything.
Okay,
because
maybe not everything.
There's not enough time for that.
All right.
But let me just say,
okay,
living on a bus, a tour bus with all men, okay, there were about, I think at the time, the first time we had to move onto the bus, there were about eight men. Mm-hmm. 7 or 8 men, and I was the only girl.
Yes.
And yeah, there's a difference. It has nothing to do with DJing. Okay. Now we're talking about human beings, okay? If they were the only guy amongst a bus full of even hot girls, it doesn't matter. They'll go crazy living with a bunch of women. You know what I mean? In a small capacity, just so small and tight. So the rule number 1 was you cannot number 2 on the bus. Mm. So we had to, I know this is TMI.
That's okay.
But you cannot number 2 until we got to the truck stop.
Oh.
As a woman, okay, see, men, it's a little bit different. I don't think too many men prefer to use the public truck stop bathroom.
Right.
But it's not as disgusting for them as it is for a woman.
Right.
We have different things, you know. Right. We have different things going on.
That's right.
And I don't prefer to sit on a toilet bowl that hundreds of, maybe thousands of people have used that day. You know, maybe a couple thousand people use that same toilet bowl.
I see.
So that was one big issue.
Challenge. Okay.
Plus I'm OCD, you know.
I know you are. I
yeah.
know. And you went from city to city across the country in this tour bus. What are the other challenges that you had?
Well, one, I'm not going to say who it was, but one tried to crawl in my bunk.
Oh.
Yeah, that was not on camera, and I almost kicked him in his face.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a few choice words.
That was definitely edited out.
Oh, there was no the problem was there weren't cameras on the bus that were sufficient. There were cameras in the main area, like the living room of the bus.
I see.
And then not inside of the bunks because it's too private, I guess.
Yes.
And it was too dark, so even in the hallways you couldn't really see. But the dude tried to crawl in my bunk.
Oh my goodness. What about some of your difficulties or your challenges with music and the challenges that they gave you on the show?
Oh, those were really, really, really difficult because number one, for TV you have to clear the songs. And a lot of viewers don't understand that with TV you have to pay to play the songs.
Okay.
You can't just pick anything from your collection and play. You can't play just 10 Michael Jackson songs. Because the TV show has to pay for those 10 Michael Jackson songs.
I see. Royalties.
Yes, royalties.
Okay.
And they had a set list of about 150 or less, because some of them are remixes of the same songs. And when you had possibly 3 DJs, 4 DJs go before you, and already played probably the best songs on that playlist, then you go in front of the same audience and you play it just looks, they're not excited. They're human beings. They're not going to be excited. It doesn't matter if it's a TV audience or not. They're going to be like, then you look bad on TV. Right. So it just adds to the element. And then if you mess up, then it's even worse because everybody's heard like the same song multiple times. It's just, TV's a different beast.
What have you learned with doing Master of the Mix? Would you do another DJ reality TV show?
I would do a different type of DJ reality show. No. Definitely not a competition.
Okay.
Because it can make you look very good or very bad.
I
see. Part of it is because people just don't know what they think they know about DJing. They don't.
Now, when you were on the show, one of the judges was a very well-known DJ, Kid Capri.
Yeah.
He is known from Africa to China to the United States, all over the world. What was the experience like working with Kid Capri, number one? And number two, any good advice that he gave you?
Kid, I have to say, is a very, very humble person. Very humble. He acts cocky or whatever when he's DJing, but it's more, people want that. Do you want him to be timid? Be like, yo, it's Kid Capri. No, he's like, yo, it's Kid Capri, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, Mm-hmm. And he was very encouraging. Even though he would critique you, and he would say, you messed up on this, but you did very good on this.
I see. Okay.
And it was very natural for him to do that. You could tell that he came in with the right people. They encouraged him. Therefore, he encourages the next generation. And he's always encouraging everybody off cameras. It's not a camera thing. Okay. He would always encourage people, and he'd be like, Kay, don't worry about, get out of your head. He's like, don't worry about other people. Don't compare yourself. And Victor was like that too, and he was very nice. And Amber was so sweet. She was very sweet. Like, people
I know a lot of. I know there was one episode where you kind of broke down a minute, and you said, you know, oh, we're gonna pause.
Okay.
What is that? Construction?
Somebody's trunk.
Okay.
Playing music.
Yeah. Okay. We're picking up. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, I do. Okay. And I'll put an extra 2 minutes on the clock. Okay. So, K Sly, I know that on the show there was this one episode where you kind of broke down. And I think one of the best parts of that episode was you said, I am a woman. I am entitled to cry.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like every day, every competition was an emotional roller coaster for you? And I know there were times that you didn't show it, and there were times that we kind of really felt you because you're a woman and you're amongst all these men competing.
Yeah.
And how did the judges take that?
It was, number one, it was very intimidating because people weren't nice on the show. Not the staff, but like the DJs. A lot of the DJs, not every single one. There were a few that weren't, but they really took it way beyond serious. It was just like a little too much. And then I didn't know any of them. So that was another thing. And it was just in a very bad, I was in a very bad place at the time anyway. So this was like, you know, this was my thing, you know, my chance to rejuvenate myself. So, as you know, in the entertainment business, everything kind of just went flat.
I see.
And this was my chance to rejuvenate myself, and it was so stressful that I would get emotional because this is my life, this is my passion, and when someone tries to attack me off camera, and then you don't get to see that on camera, it builds up. So the emotions were built up, and it just came out when, you know, we finished the challenges and we were being critiqued, and I could possibly be kicked off because that's my reputation and that's stuff I worked hard for. And, you know, you had other DJs attacking you and saying untrue things, and you had viewers being mean, and it was very stressful. I've never been in that kind of stressful. Yeah, it was. I didn't know what to expect before I went on that show.
I know that when the auditions came out, and they've done them for quite some time. It's hundreds and thousands of DJs that come out to audition, and you and very few women that were selected. What do you think when you auditioned? What do you think, and as a DJ, what do you think that you have that no other woman or no other DJ has?
I would say I know how to improvise.
Ah, that's very good.
And if you don't know how to improvise as a DJ, you're going to be in trouble.
Okay.
So you can everyone plays a song that possibly the audience may not like, especially in LA, because it's very fickle. You know, one day they might like Nas. Maybe the following week of that same night, you have an audience who doesn't like Nas, they just want Jay-Z. Okay. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you play the same Nas song and it doesn't get the same reaction.
I see.
So you have to improvise. So if you play a song that's not working, you got to get out fast, like not in a way where you just cut off the music, but just get out fast. So that's one skill. And then I pretty much know how to read the crowd. I know how to read that crowd. And not everybody knows how to read the crowd. They know what to play, but they don't know necessarily how to read that crowd to make their night even bigger, that their set that much better than just playing the typical.
Now, how do you read a crowd? Is it by nationality? Is it by demographic? Is it by age?
Everything. Everything, a little bit of all of that, but the main thing is the vibe. I think that's the only thing I would say that comes in handy for being a woman.
Okay.
Because I don't separate the male-female thing necessarily, but when it does come to that, it's the instinct.
Okay.
Because you could feel when somebody doesn't like, or a group of people are, you know, sending you these vibes like, why'd she play this song? Or if you play and you're like, oh, yes. And I'm like, yes, I'm winning.
I'm winning. Like Charlie Sheen.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Is he winning?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, he's another story we'll have to get into. K Sly, one of the things I want to ask you is with you being a DJ and knowing so much music, where do you think music is going now? Are you a girl of the likes of old school or the new hip hop or the disco era, freestyle? What's your style?
Everything now.
Okay.
Because I feel when you limit yourself and you only play the current music, like say hip hop, you're only playing current hip hop and then maybe 5 years back. You're really limiting yourself because it's not that great. I mean, you're not going to really move the crowd and you're limiting yourself. So I feel every 10 to 20 years the genre from the generation prior, the decade or two before comes back. So right now 90s.
Okay.
90s is like huge. 90s hip hop and R&B. Just making a big comeback. You have the teens and the early 20 DJs like getting all into it and playing it, and I'm like, what do you know about that? What do you know about that?
I see.
What do you know about, SWV or, I mean, the TLC, well, TLC kind of went into the 2000s, but they were playing like the first album of TLC.
I see. Okay.
So that, and then things are fusing. I feel that everything's literally crossing over into each other. It's blending together. Even house. You have hip house.
Hip house. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So is that like a house artist and a hip hop artist on the same record together?
Kind of like how Technotronic, like Pump Up the Jam,
I see what you mean.
It's that hip like a rapper and then the house beat.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. What's last but not least, what's K Sly's biggest goal?
Biggest goal?
What's your biggest dream?
To be a host like you.
You want to take over my job?
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to my executive producer about that.
No, I really do. I want to be a host, but I feel I hate using, I hate using certain, like I hate using the sex card and the whole race card. I hate using those.
Right.
But the fact is we got to be truthful. We have to be honest because it does come into play. And I feel that with Asians, I am an Asian woman. You can't deny that I'm Asian. I'm actually mixed, but I look Asian. When you see me, you're like, she's an Asian woman. Where on TV do you see that? Do you see any not anchor women? Okay. Where do you see Asian hosts? Do you see any?
That's a good point.
And then I'm not in the box. I'm not in the box. I'm not that host who is like the E! News host. I could, if they wanted to give me a job. Okay. But I'm not that typical person. So I'm a little rough around the edges. I'm a little bit more street. But I feel like they need it, and they don't know where to stick this Asian woman. I see. On TV.
Well, you could always create a show of yourself.
Yeah.
You could stream it, put it on a website.
That's what I'm doing.
There you go. And tell us a little bit about where we could see some of your stuff. You have a website, Twitter. I know you're very, 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 very heavy on Twitter.
Too
much. Too heavy on Twitter. But where can we follow K Sly? Where can we know what clubs you're doing, or where you're going to be, or what you're hosting?
Well, right now I'm hosting Mnet. Mnet is an Asian American network. Okay. So I do corresponding for that. I interview artists, like K-pop artists. I don't know if you heard of K-pop.
Yes.
And just, a lot of Asian Americans. I go to SneakerCon. I interviewed Kendrick Lamar and, upcoming rappers and all that. And let me see, what else am I doing?
DJing around clubs.
DJing. Oh yeah, I am DJing. I'm DJing on the East Coast this summer. So a few cities on the East Coast. Okay. And then on Twitter you can find me, DJ K Sly.
Okay.
But if you can't handle someone tweeting at least 30 tweets a day,
don't follow her.
Don't follow me. And then Team DJ K Sly for Facebook.
Okay. Yeah. Well, DJ K Sly, thank you so much for being here today. You are an inspiration, and I hope that the viewers that see this and that are inspired females that want to DJ can see you and go, I can do it as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. That's the Nautica Show. We'll see you next time.
Yay!